Hi there and welcome to the channel. I'm Slate and today we are continuing with our Builder Champ series. Today we are going to be looking at Arrogance. Let's get started. So Arrogance is part of the Nightmare faction. He is one of the OG heroes in Watcher of Realms. He's also considered one of the best heroes in Watcher of Realms. He is a long range fighter with some pretty neat capabilities. He shines in basically all round content and he is available in the normal summoning pool. In terms of his kit highlights, as I said, he is a long range fighter. He has one of these quite unique ranges that then gets filled in on his ultimate, sort of like a marksman range, which is really pretty awesome. He's also pretty unique in the fact that he has the burning debuff, which quite a few units do have, but his lasts for 7 seconds, whereas others last for about 5 seconds. So this is pretty nice as well. His single target actually allows him to have a dual stance. Effectively, he has this single target attack, but it can either be a bow or a blade, depending on how far away the enemies are. His ultimate is an auto, which means you can't control it, which is slightly unfortunate, but what it means is that he changes his stance yet again, and if he hits enemies further away, it will turn in as a boomerang, which does AoE damage and inflicts burning, which is really nice. He has a passive bond skill with the limited hero lust, which is honestly one of the best bond skills in the game, and that is because it increases the attack by 15% during his ultimate, which is incredibly strong. As far as his other two passives, one of them increases his speed and the other has a chance to do extra hits, which again are also very nice. In terms of investment, absolutely all skills, no questions asked. And then in terms of awakenings, his A1 is really interesting because it allows him to restore 5% HP during his ultimate, which can be really nice for some survivability. His A3 does 15% extra damage to targets inflicted with burning, and then his A5 means that he receives the max attack speed talent bonus that he gets when he enters his ultimate, and it also means that the first 5 attacks are going to deal 100% extra damage, which is pretty damn strong. And then finally, in terms of whether or not you should soulstone him, I would definitely say he's not worth your unpolished soulstones or your Lord Soulstones. Definitely picking them up passively, but he does sometimes have a soulstone in the awakening shop. I know that very recently they have changed, but essentially I would say he is well worth the 400 coins if you have bad legendary to spare. And what do I mean by that? Well, that's an entirely different conversation as to, you know, whether it's worth selling legendaries for other legendaries, but in my opinion, if you have the legendaries to spare, not Selene. But yeah, definitely then he is worth picking up that soulstone because his awakenings are very strong, but I wouldn't use a soulstone on him. Now, in terms of how to build Arrogance, the primary thing is we're going to build him as a DPS unit. So we want to have lovely high attack, max crit rate, crit damage, and then also attack speed. This guy does really well going very fast. In terms of left-hand sets, we're definitely for progression going to be looking at Calamity. Whirlwind is another set that you could use. If you have the stats, Annihilating Might is nice as well, especially for boss content, and then obviously moving up to Warlord and Wicked Vengeance. Then in terms of the right hand side sets, I would definitely say the most popular one is going to be putting him into Soulbound Arcana. He does so well in this gear set. His kit would read that Infernal Roar does better because it's essentially an extension of his basic attack, but actually on testing, Soulbound Arcana is definitely what seems to work best for him. Obviously in terms of progression sets, Fracture is pretty decent. You could use Curse, you could do Wisdom, you could do next Doom, Insight, but to be honest, I will show you with a progression build, forget about the sets, just go for the stats instead. And then obviously in terms of our premium sets, Cataclysm is very nice indeed, especially because he does have an exclusive amulet, and that exclusive amulet allows his ultimate to come down by 100 cost, which is absolutely incredible because it's already quite a short cost at 750, and then this will come down to 650, which is very nice indeed. So yeah, anyway, those are the main sets. And then of course in terms of artifacts for progression, you definitely want Keen Wisdom. He does have his own exclusive artifact, which is really nice. It increases damage dealt to targets inflicted by burning. It goes all the way up to 30%. And then in terms of other artifacts, I would definitely say Realm Tear is one that was definitely his sort of best in slot before his exclusive came out, and that is because for every a increased tile beyond range, he gets an increased damage boost. Frigid Flame is another option if he's not going to be taking damage directly. And then another really nice one, actually surprisingly enough, is Shattered Hilt. Now, because he does single target in AoE, you might be like, oh, this isn't going to work. Funnily enough, for whatever reason, this does still code, and he does get the Shattered Hilt instances even if he is doing his AoE hits. I definitely say pretty much if you have it and you have it leveled, his exclusive is absolutely lush. Now, in terms of a progression build, like I said, Keen Wisdom is absolutely lovely, and we are going to obviously prioritize stats over sets. I would definitely say you can get away with doing an attack speed amulet. Like I said, he does so well with speed as you are progressing, but if you are using an attack speed amulet, I would definitely make sure you have Calamity on the left hand side. You could do all attack and then do Whirlwind on the left hand side if you wanted. And obviously, if it is progression and DPS, if you are going to be using a crit rate bangle, which obviously absolutely fine as you are getting started, but please make sure that the next two pieces are attack bonus, because you are not going to do well if you have a crit rate, attack speed, crit damage. Attack is still key in this game when it comes to PvE. Now, in terms of late game, once you've unlocked lots of gear, like I said, Soulbound Arcana is going to be his best in slot for most content on the right hand side, and Warlord on the left hand side. Now you can see here he is in attack speed amulet, and that would bring his attack interval to a 1.2, but to be honest, if it was much better to go all attack, and that is because if you look here, as long as you're sort of looking for those attack speed subs, he's only going to drop to a 1.3 second interval, and actually it is going to be much better to have that high attack on him than that extra speed. So always when you're balancing a speedy hero, definitely make sure that you are not compromising attack, but look at what the intervals are. And then for his artifact, if you don't have it exclusive, like I said, Shattered Hilt is, funnily enough, really lovely. It is a recently new addition to the artifact pool, and you could also do Realm Tear or Frigid Flame if you would like to as well. Then finally, we're going to look at a boss build, because one of the things that this guy does really well is not just general PvE content, but he is really nice in Guild Boss, APOC, and the new Abyss as well he can be used in. Okay, so for this build, this is more tailored towards boss content. With his exclusive artifact, like I said, this is very nice, and then you can also pair it with the Nightmare Ring, which has a 5% chance on basic attacks to deal extra damage one more time, which is very nice. We're still going to sort of prioritize all attack bonus. If you do have crit damage, actually bringing in a crit damage main is going to be better in boss content, so I don't have much of it, as you can see, and I would lose a lot of crit rate. Oh no. I need some more crit rate. Basically, if you have crit damage, this is definitely where you want to bring in a crit damage piece. But to also help make up for that, I would definitely suggest bringing in Wicked Vengeance on the left hand side. And in terms of stats, we're still looking at around over 20,000 attack. HP will depend on what the content is and how much survivability you need. In terms of his speed, again, looking, I would say anything under a 1.5 second interval is going to be really nice. Make sure he's crit capped, and anything above 300% crit damage is going to be very nice. Obviously, if you can get that closer to 350 for boss content, that does seem to be what works out best. And Rage Regen is nice, but it's not necessary in terms of if you've got him fast enough and if you've got him in his exclusives. And then obviously we are going to put him in his exclusive artifact. This is really, really nice. And then the other thing I would just say about Arrogance is with his skill, and because it's this thing to do with enemies being further than one tile away, it's not this tile, it's these sort of two tiles that stick out that the bow ends up coming out. And so if you are placing him in boss content, make sure he is as far away from the boss as possible in order to make sure that he is actually going to be getting this bow, which then will inflict burning, because that is part of his talent. So yeah, that is basically how you are going to build Arrogance. Like I said, he is one of the best heroes in the game, as he is incredibly great all round. He hits air, he hits ground, he does AoE, he does single target, he does burning, and he does everything that you could possibly want. So yeah, do let me know in the comments below, how do you like to gear your Arrogance? What do you like to use him in? Is he one of your favorite heroes? But yeah, do like and subscribe if you haven't already. That is all from me today. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video and the next live stream. So until then, take care and bye for now.